welcome back to this, our final pre-Rhode Island Author Expo interview. We've done 4 of these so far, and it's been an absolutely amazing experience. But the show itself is just around the corner. So it is on December 7th at from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Crown Plaza Ballroom in Warwick, Rhode Island. It's a totally free event. The books are not, of course, but you got over 100 writers at this thing, people. We got fiction writers, we got thrillers, we got autobiographies, we got kids books, we got all kinds of writers. There's going to be panels, there's going to be guest speakers. I'll be emceeing the thing along with doing interviews throughout the day. So certainly hope to see you all there. But right now, I am ending this thing by talking to author Karyn Chabot Martino for her 5-book series on the secret 52 star codes of creation. Woo! I got it all out. All right.
You did it.
Karyn, welcome to the show. It is so cool to have you here.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I'm excited to talk about all this with you.
Oh, me too. Because the more I was reading about this, I thought, okay, this is really interesting stuff. This is really, really interesting.
Yeah,
So
I think so too.
Yeah. So let's begin by just kind of going back to the beginning. What is the 52 star code system, and how did you come to learn about it?
I came to learn about it by reading a book that was called Destiny, The Cards of Destiny. And it was by Robert Lee Camp. He was my first teacher. And it was around 1999 that I heard about it. And then I started to really embrace it around 2004. And it was the resistance period between 98 and 2004, because the cover of the book and all of the associations with cards, it's like a 4-letter word associated with gypsies and gambling and and I just wasn't into all that. Actually, I never even bought a scratch ticket. So I'm like, what am I doing with these cards? And I was a massage therapist, and I was, really big into my industry of massage therapy. I was a presenter. I wrote 18 books and instructional videos, and I was a continuing education provider by the national board. I mean, it was my passion and healing, like really helping people, like raising the vibration and helping their bodies feel better and them comfortable in their skin and being, as authentic and helpful as I could. And then the cards just kind of clashed with that a little in the beginning. I couldn't really wrap my head around it until I met this friend, Katia, from a place in Costa Rica called Porta Vida. And I went there and trained that entire staff on how to do Ayurvedic modalities, healing massage and sacred stone therapy, a lot of things, and made friends with all of them. But Katia kept showing me this book, and I'm like, that book has been following me. It's been haunting me. Okay, let me see what this is. And so she started reading it to me and reading it to all her clients, and we were all sitting around a table, and it was really fun. I thought, this is fun and this is really accurate. So I started to really surrender to it, and I call it dabbling. And then I started doing 5 minutes at the end of every massage therapy session to my clients, and they loved it. I used the back of the book and had dates, and it had predictions, and it's a system. It's a mathematical system. It's a science, and it's not like this random playing of, throw some tarot cards down. And I value that too. That has some worth, because at the moment in time, when you ask a question and you throw some cards down, you're capturing the consciousness of the moment. And there's some answers in there. It's a way to do divination and some self-discovery, and I value that. But these cards are not necessarily random. It's like true astrology. If you ever looked at astrology software, the software is based on math and science, and it's all configured, and you can take the same day and look at it 5 years from now, and then, or you could go backwards and look at it that way. All angles, like today is November 23rd. There is one specific card assigned to the global world, and it's not personal to anyone, but it's just the transits, just the way, moon transits every 2.5 days, and Venus transits every 30 something days, and the nodes of the moon transit every 18 months. So that's global. And it has a system like that, where you also have your personal birth chart, which is very intimate, and it creates more, personalized, tailored information for you and the transits within your own chart, and you combine the outer transits globally and the inner transits, and it all starts to make sense, connecting the dots. And I thought, well, you know, this is a real true science, and there's astrology, numerology, and archetypal psychology, which is fascinating. And yeah, did I say astrology? Sacred geometry, the actual shapes of the suits, the spades are the upside down version of the hearts. And it all connects to what I studied. I had my master's in Ayurvedic medicine. And Ayurvedic medicine is like Tibetan medicine or Chinese medicine. It's a true medical system, and it's recognized by the World Health Association as one of the top three. You know, there's allopathic medicine, there's Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and there's Ayurveda, which is a medicine from Tibet and India. So I have studied that and see the world through those lenses, through the 5 great elements that exist, and I applied them to the suits. And I started seeing it very, very differently. Well, the hearts are spring and they represent the element of water, and more. And so the clubs are more for summer. And so each of the suits had elements and seasons associated. And I started seeing the whole book that I thought was, you know, Walmart or some kind of, you know, nothing I was interested in. I started really understanding that this was sacred information hiding in plain sight. And it was like a deck of cards was like a tiny unbound book of life. And if you could read the secret language and the codes of what was in this tiny unbound book, then you could understand yourself and your family and your friends and why you made choices and what's your purpose and your patterns, your gifts, your struggles, all of it spelled out. And it starts to make sense. It's like the language of the stars, because each card has a numerical code. So when you start adding numbers to something, you can start to develop formulas and insights. And then you can start to understand that these numbers are associated with planetary transits, outer and inner. And then you start seeing the whole world differently, and that most things are part of a soul contract, and there's some free will, and then there's some fate. And you start to recognize all of that. And for me, my clients, my massage clients would come back and they say, you know, I love your massage, but could I just schedule a whole hour of the cards? You know, just, I have questions about my boyfriend. Is he cheating on me? Or another client would say, you told me I was going to lose my job next month, and I did. I need a whole reading. And what happened was my massage industry and career just by organically moved into doing these readings for people. And then I started getting these downloads, for lack of a better word, like knowledge was being pressed into my head. Knowings, I don't know how else to say it. As I was thinking about writing my book, I started understanding that this tiny book of time was given to us by the Anunnaki, who are they're ETs, they're extraterrestrials, and they were given to us at the very beginning of time. So these cards are older than even Ayurveda. Ayurveda, they say, is 5,000 years old, probably older, but it's even before that. So I didn't even know who the Anunnaki were. I didn't really. I Googled it after I heard that, and then they showed me the Ankh symbol. This is the Ankh. So I bought an Ankh symbol a couple of years ago. It's, you know, it's the cross with the loop, and then I understood, they showed me pictures of how the loop was just a singular loop, and then it duplicated or replicated itself, just the way an ovum, when it is fertilized, the ovum replicates exactly, duplicates itself. So then that was the heart when you take 2 of those loops. And then they showed me this red heart. And I thought, wow, this is like an evolution, a true evolution of where it started from the sacred symbol, and the power of it was just overwhelming. And I kept getting more information about how we were persecuted back in the day for learning this and being an astrologer, and that the 3 magi had this system. used this system to find the Star of Bethlehem, and that, you know, the kings and queens were threatened by this, so they outlawed it. And if you were found using it, because it was so powerful, you were persecuted. So we learned how to, and I remembered when I was in other lives doing this way back then, and with friends. So I couldn't see their faces, but when I meet them, they come in as clients sometimes. Sometimes my students, when I teach this, and I'm like, I know you. We all find each other. It's interesting, and unknowingly, but knowingly on some soul contract level. There's no coincidences, no accidents. So when oh, I lost my train of thought. So what was the Anunnaki? Oh yeah, they were hiding in plain sight. So we decided to use these cards as a game. Okay, go fish, bridge, whatever, war, you know, poker, whatever it was. The kings and queens thought that was really cool. Okay, that's acceptable. It's not a threat to us. This is just a game. So we kept it alive and hiding in plain sight. And those of us who knew the value, the sacredness of the deck and the secret language hidden within all the star codes, because each card is a star code, then we were able to secretly do it and hope to God that there would be a time we could all come out with it, and that kings and queens and presidents of countries wouldn't be threatened by it. And now is the time. It's resurfaced. And Robert Lee Camp, who wrote that book, Cards of Destiny, I think he wrote Love Cards. He brought it out. He was the first one. Really, there was a few more before him in the 1800s, but they weren't very shiny, bright people, public people, or didn't have an affinity for computer and technology, couldn't develop software for this. But Robert Camp was a bright, shiny person, very smart, able to write, good writer, and a computer program, and he developed this software, which has changed my world. And I want to develop software because I've taken what he taught me and elevated it, because I've applied Vedic astrology to it. And I've applied Ayurveda to it, the science of Ayurveda, the health science, the medical system to it. So when I read for people, I can see where, for example, what their health is going to be. I can predict if they're going to hit a snag, if they're going to be sick, or if someone in their family would be sick. I hate giving bad news, but I'm very transparent and honest about it. And there's always free will. And then I give remedies. This is how you can fix it. This is the diet you should be on, or this is, you need prayer for this one, or you need discipline and yoga for this one. I can see gallstones. I can see if someone's going to lose a part of the reproductive tissue, or if there's so many things you can see medically in the cards that is profound, because each planet represents a different tissue in the body. And then we can see afflictions. And when I see a tissue afflicted by what I call the 9-6 transit or the 2-6 transit, I affectionately call them portals, black holes and blue holes. And I can see to what degree the affliction will be and when they recover, because each birthday is assigned a star code for their healing frequency that enters them and their healing frequency that exits them, so they can help others, because we all have the ability to heal each other. And then when you receive, when's the portal open for the biggest amount of healing? This is good news for people who, for example, have cancer and are wondering if they're going to be able to heal from it. If I see a huge portal of healing coming up, I can't wait to give that good news. And it's 98% true. So there's so much that you can see. And my biggest theme in the books that I wrote, the 52 star codes, well, the full title is The Secret 52 Star Codes of Creation, is about forgiveness and love and self-discovery, because that's the biggest gift that this system taught me. I really learned how to forgive my parents. Not all of us have parents that challenge us to some degree, right? It's all on the spectrum. I had very massively challenging parents, hard to grow up in that house, and a sister as well that I couldn't get along with, but another sister I did get along with. And I understood through the star code system why. because they were my stress cards. So every birthday is assigned a stress card or code. Mine is 39. And then there are other ways for it to manifest. For example, your blessed code, because every birthday has a blessed code. And I have beautiful stories in my book of meeting my blessed code people. They show up out of nowhere like angels and they help you pro bono and no agenda. This is really, it's really sweet. However, there's always a caveat because sometimes a blessing comes in with a little shadow. So they might have an outside blessing, an external blessing code that you see, and then yes, they bless you, but they might have an internal stress code that is your stress code. So then they can also pinch you. So you kind of have to have awareness of this. I had my father who was a mixture of both my blessed and my stress. And Robert Lee Camp, the owner of this system, is also an embodiment of my blessed and my stressed code. For my birthday, anyone born on November 29th would have a 39, which is the King of Diamonds stress code. And I used to call it the sick code because I would always see people get really sick during this time when this card would show up. And because it's a formula I developed for each birthday. And I even started tracking, it might sound sinister, but I started tracking when people were dying, even on, TV, famous people, just because I'm a secret geek researcher. I like to look, I like to explore that. And most people die on the week that their stress code is in Saturn or in a malefic planetary cycle. Usually on the day even. It's pretty amazing. So when you meet someone who is and I changed the name of it. It's not a sick code anymore because I thought that it's too negative because yes, we all eventually die from stress and get sick from stress, but it depends on our consciousness, our awareness, our ability to rise above it. And I don't want to assume that people aren't going to rise above it and just get sick. So I decided to say, it's a stress card. So what you do with it is up to you. When I see the King of Diamonds or meet a King of Diamonds, I know there's going to be some major lesson that I have to learn with these people. For example, you don't want to marry your stress card, and a lot of people do because these are our soul people. They come in and they've agreed to take the script so that you could learn to make lemonade out of lemons, and they aren't always going to be pleasant. So you find them and they come in and you get lured in because you feel like, I know this person. This is like a soul feeling of familiarity. How come I click with this person? But they may be your stress card. And over time, you open your heart to them and then they can come in and really, really do some damage. So it's nice to be able to identify them before you get blindsided. It doesn't mean you just rule them out of your life, but you identify them and then you have to keep a little distance and maybe I won't marry this one. Maybe I won't hire this one if I'm running a business, or maybe I just keep this one at bay and take baby steps. So it's really good to have awareness. The rest of us in this world who don't understand this system, honestly, are walking around blindsided. Because if you can understand who your people are, identify your blessed people, your stressed people, who heals you, when will you be healed, when will you get sick, and when will you recover from it? And who is your best healer? For example, if you have to get a major surgery, are you going to choose a doctor born on your stress card day? For example, I would like some help with my elbow. I have a tough elbow going on from 35 years of massaging. I can't straighten it all the way or bend it. And there's this fantastic doctor, Ivy League graduate, that is a male, queen of diamonds. But if you're a male and you're a queen, you usually express as your gender king of diamonds. So everyone's pushing me. You got to get this doctor. He did my shoulder, my elbow. He's the best. Maybe the best for everyone else, but not for a girl born on November 29th. He's my sick card. I can't do it. And it's so frustrating because his credentials are through the roof. And I know people who he has fixed their elbow. He's done amazing work, but I can't sign up for him. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to walk into that hornet's nest. I need to find another doctor who is my healing card. And that would be the Queen of Spades, star code 51. So I hope I've given you some kind of understanding of what this system is. Do you have any
Yeah.
questions?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, we are actually coming down. We are actually coming down to the end of this conversation. But I do want to ask quickly before we go, just your book series. What does this add to the conversation of the star codes?
What's the question?
Just what your book series really adds to the conversation of these star codes. How does it sort of build on what you've already learned?
Oh, yeah. So I never learned anything about the stress card or the bless card or the healing card, or there's so many formulas. The imprint card, for example, the imprint star code is um, a reflection of what you bring in, excuse me, to this lifetime from another lifetime. We can't say past, future, or parallel because on the other side, there is no time. On Earth, there is time. So when I say another time, we bring in gifts from another lifetime or unresolved issues. And that imprint card tells you who you might have been in another time that you lived, another dimension or density, or what theme you bring in as a gift or as a challenge or something you have to overcome. So none of that was in Robert's book. And it was formulas like that. And he doesn't know where the system came from. He didn't know that this is from the Anunnaki. So I channeled this. I guess that's the word for it. I didn't necessarily hear voices. And I know a lot of channelers and mediums hear. Sometimes I have heard and voices, but not like I'm not crazy, but they're just like they're usually very concise, like three words or four words. That's not a lot of blah 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 blah. It's just concise information that I know is about the star code. So I heard that, but mostly I was pressed in knowledge, knowings and images. And it's usually when I was in meditation, though sometimes it's while I was writing, I could almost feel like I was lifting off my seat, and I would get this excitement, this feeling of bliss, like, wow, tell me more. That's a great story. And then I would start, connecting the dots, and that's why, and that makes sense. And this like revelational insights would come through, and that was all downloaded into my book, and it's not in any other book. So this series comes from my heart. It comes from other beings, probably the Anunnaki or the gatekeepers of this system, but it is 100% love and light. There's no dark energy in it. It's all because I work only with the light, and I'm able to discern when I see something dark or something that is not comfortable for me. I can distinguish it.
All
I,
right, all right.
yeah.
Well, folks, we are now coming down to the end of this conversation. I really hope you enjoyed this very thorough introduction into what the 52 star code system is. But if you want to learn more, really simple. You just go to 52starcodes.org. Everything is there. You can get the book series and you can meet the author at the expo, which, once again, December 7th, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You got all day at the Crown Plaza Ballroom in Warwick, Rhode Island. Easy to find, free event. Go there, enjoy it. And Karyn, I hope we get the chance to meet, face to face there.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, folks. This has been Citywide Blackout, our pre-show interview for the Rhode Island Author Expo, and I hope to see you all there.